Your boy, Jet Black One Only here with
Me.
slightly disappointed. And today we're going to be playing Jank Heroes Funnifyic. Can you give us a recap of where you were last time? He's currently getting his character sheet set up. I'm getting the live chat set up.
I was trying to do stuff. I had left the thing. I finally got that skull. I had left the building where I killed that skull dude, and went into essentially like the outskirts of town or like somewhere in town, and came across a little like gecko community, lizard community. It was like sentient, and I kept fucking that up, and that was basically the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. I believe you were going to Burger Dogs or whatever.
I was trying
Chicken
to get the
burgers.
chicken burger. I was trying to get the rest of those things first, and then I was like, after we could go to chicken burger.
And I remember everybody was like, I think you're kind of evil. That was some evil shit. Yeah.
And I was like,
Okay, so where are you currently headed?
I guess I'm gonna get this one. No. I guess to go and find the rest of those things.
Would you mind if I had some non-copyrighted lo-fi background?
Not at all.
Okay, so where are you searching?
I'm gonna call my dragon.
Okay, you call your dragon, but for whatever reason, you don't get like an answer back.
Okay, I'm gonna go to what the fuck? I'm gonna go to I guess to the apartment.
Okay, you're gonna head to the apartment. So, when you head over to the apartment building, you notice that like the doors are like covered in like thorny vines in all the windows.
Okay. So look at my floating thing.
Your loading thing?
My floating platform.
Oh yeah, you look up.
Yeah.
That seems good.
What did I see?
You see the ladder that goes up there.
Are there any vines on it?
No, there are no vines on that.
Okay, I'm gonna climb up that.
Okay, so you're gonna climb up that.
And I tell the guys that are with me, hey, don't climb up it, it'll shock the fuck out of you.
Plain white's like, I can call like a big drone that I can like stand on.
Sure, can you also make it big enough for the other dude to get on with you?
I can call a second one for him.
Okay.
Yeah, these are already made things. Boop, 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 beep. Alrighty, I have a drone going after this one guy. Anyways, let's head up.
Alright.
So the drones are like taking them up. So yeah, you guys arrive at the top, and there are a bunch of skeletons of people wearing these red beeping wristbands up there.
Okay. So I try and talk to one of them. I say, hey, what are you guys doing?
Plain white is like, that's incredibly morbid. And then the other guy's like, fuck, what happened here?
I'm like, you never know, they could be nice. What are you guys up to?
They're skeletons. They're dead people.
Are they alive?
No, they're just skeletons. They're
they're
like
all
lying
dead?
down. Yeah,
Oh, I
with
thought they were
clothes
like
on.
standing and like wearing. Oh, okay. I examined the beepers without touching them, the watches.
They all have a 0 on. Oh, sorry, we haven't.
Okay, I know what it means.
Okay.
So, I get my shoe, and I take it off, and I use the heel of it, and I like sort of nudge one of them with it.
They're still pretty dead.
Did it fuck with my shoe at all?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna kick them all off of my base.
Okay. So are you like physically just like kicking the body?
Yeah, like off of it.
Plain white's like, yo, what are you doing? Oh shit.
And like they all have zeros, they could have been poison, they could be a deadly bacterial thing that could kill us.
Couldn't we just call the police?
We just got done with a huge invasion. I doubt the police are like all in force right now. Like we probably need to figure out what's going on in the city. It seems like a lot's been fucked up. Like I don't think the police are gonna be a whole lot healthier.
Hold on a second. I'm researching something my subspace
Are you
communicators.
researching if the police are active?
No, I'm researching more about these watch things.
Oh, okay. Please do. Please let me know what's going on.
The Dr. Evil guy's like, I don't have anything useful to do right now.
I was like, Dr. Evil,
I'm
dude,
still
do you
really
know
hungry.
why do you, I'm like, I
Plain
get-
White's like, I'm hungry too. It's fine.
I'm like, oh.
Can I get
God.
like delivery on this one?
You probably could. I was gonna say, Dr. Evil, do you know what?
It's a law, says Plain White.
It's a law.
It's a new thing. Everyone's supposed to be wearing like these bracelets things, and it's like illegal not to have one.
So why are they all at zero when the law can do?
Okay, so based on what the law says, you get additional wealth and status depending on like what your number is on your watch.
Is that the idea that like, oh, so it's like the time thing where like you spend credits as time, and then when your time runs down to zero, you die.
Nigga, this isn't a Justin Timberlake movie. Excuse my language. So the way that it works is that when you do like good things for society, your score goes up. When you do bad things or things that like harsh the mellow of society, your score goes down. When your score goes down, it seems like your place in society will fall, and also like how much like value you have.
Were they all wearing different clothes, or did they have a uniform on?
All those people have different clothes.
Okay.
Yeah. Plain White's like, whatever these guys do, I guess it's not really like liked by society.
Oh fuck! They're all baby drowners.
Baby drowners?
Yeah, I was like, that's my profession. And they were all able to climb up this ladder because it's a thing that shocks only people who aren't baby drowners. So they're fucking baby drowners who tried to climb up here to escape and ended up, the clock ran down to zero and they fucking died.
Well, it's not a clock. It's just when you do bad things, your score goes down. They
But
probably just were all impoverished. I don't know how you get impoverished so hard you're a skeleton, though. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, but also, so what confuses me about that, I don't understand how what they're doing, why they would have climbed up the ladder, like, because that wouldn't have helped them. And also, why, I did not take a wristwatch, I don't want to fuck with that.
Good to see you, Matt.
Hey, Matt. But also, is it like a credit-based thing? Does it say
No, why
that?
do you keep saying, like, Plain White is like, I just told you what it was.
So it's like an infraction thing? How much do you start out with?
It seems like everybody starts out
Is
at,
this the social credits thing?
it's just called the management system.
That sounds like a bad sci-fi movie. Do either of you guys want to be a part of this system? Because it sounds fun.
It seems illegal not to be a part of the system, and
No.
I am a hero. The Dr. Evil guy is like, Psh, I've never fucked with this. I don't even have an SSN.
Right, and I'm like, okay. Well, the thing is, as a hero, you have to understand that if something seems wrong and denying people free will, then you should be advocating for people's freedoms, right?
It doesn't seem like it inhibits your free will.
I'm like,
It's
Plain White, come on, just side with me. Just fucking Plain White,
Plain White's like,
please. I'm like, please, Plain White.
I mean, I'll lobby against it and stuff like that. Like, I'll like write
I'm
my
like,
congressman
I'm
and
like,
stuff
no,
like that.
we're going on an adventure, and I need you to say that you want to be a part of the adventure.
I'm down to be part of the adventure, but I still should get. I don't want to get hunted by other heroes.
Okay.
That's like the big risk of not having one. Matt said I can't tell you a lot because I'm not talking to you, but they are dumb.
Thank you.
He said, "Thank God."
So
He
my
doesn't have
thing-
a subspace communicator, so he's like, "I can't talk to you in the game."
Understandable. So my thing is, Plain White, you can get a watch, but what if it tracks us and other heroes come and try and stop us from not having watches? I just need you to know I'm going to kill them, because I'm not going to let them put a watch on me. Secondly, if you try and report us, it's just gonna get really bad. That's why I need you to just sign with us.
I'm not reporting. I'm not actively hunting you down. I'm actually actively hunting someone else down with a drone.
Okay. Who are you hunting down?
So there was a guy who went to court for like a hero framer thing.
Yeah.
But he got off on it.
Oh, so you're hunting him down?
So recently,
Is he a speedster?
no.
Okay.
Recently, he went to the mayor's office about the whole like wristwatch thing.
Yeah.
And he caused like a big alert to happen and like threatened the mayor's life. Since then, he was identified as being the guy from the court case, and the DA is thinking about reopening that case. If so,
was the case closed already? Did a jury decide on it?
Yeah,
Then
like-
it's illegal. Double jeopardy. You cannot fucking do that. You go to jail.
oh man, the DA is fucking up.
Yeah. Can't get tried twice for the same crime.
They put a bounty on him.
That's fucked. For what? For a crime that was already proven innocent and closed in a court case?
You should be his lawyer, dude.
Yeah, like
But yeah. I guess I'm in a slippery slope. His other infraction is that he doesn't have like the wristwatch.
okay,
thing.
that would actually like that could be a reason that they would do it because that's a
Oh,
different.
and
crime.
also he like fatally wounded a guy in like the mayor's office.
Mm.
I believe that guy is like currently on life support in the hospital.
Damn.
Knocked him like an inch away from like death.
Damn. Okay.
Tackled him with like 20 clones or something like that.
Damn. Well, what we're gonna do. Oh wait, fuck! I have an idea. So, are the watches connected?
The law doesn't say anything about them being connected. They're all based on like your personal action, not the actions of others. So other people doing stuff can't lower yours.
Right, but it's based on a universal system, right?
Yeah, they're all
So
following like certain rules.
So they're all connected to something that's determining that, right?
Not necessarily. That could just be a hardware-based thing, but that's not all like outlined in the law.
Okay.
I'm just saying, don't assume that they're like networked.
Okay.
It might actually just be individual hardware-based.
Okay.
Matt's going off. He said, by the way, Plain White is hunting me supposedly, but you don't know that. Whoops, didn't realize you were going to talk about it. Son of a gun, Jet, a bounty. Please, don't try to kill me, even though neither of us know about the full situation.
Right.
But you don't know that. He didn't say any of that.
Right. So I'm gonna say, let's go inside my base. Let's figure out what we can do with my supercomputer and so I can see what's going on. So I'm gonna use my supercomputer and I'm gonna say, Plain White, do you for whatever reason have either a space plane that can go in space that has satellite imagery, or do you have a satellite up in space right now?
1, I have both of those things. 2, can I get a wristwatch real quick? Really don't want to get like fucked over.
Yeah.
Not gonna fuck you over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna ride my drone. Dr. Evil
I'm
Guy.
gonna say, do you have like a skill with technology?
I know everything you could possibly know about planes.
So you know about circuitry, because circuitry is in planes, but it's also in other things. Planes work on microcontrollers sometimes and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. But keep in mind, anything you ask me to do, it might end up being a plane at the end. You could be like, I just want you to make a Game Boy, and that bitch will be a plane. Like,
No,
it's just,
understandable. I want you to check in there to
Like
see
fuck
if
with the
there's
watch.
yes, I want you to.
I'm gonna
specifically
fuck
see
with the weight.
if there's a tracking device.
You kicked all those guys off the thing. I was like, I was gonna check, because I don't want to fuck up mine, and then they'd be like, this is good, you messed with your thing. Those niggas are dead. They're not using those, but they're all...
So it might kill you. To put them on.
I mean, I'm not putting it. I could just check the circuitry and just see what it does.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you kicked him off. He's like, he gets on his drone, and when he gets on the drone and looks down, he's like, those guys like stood up and like walked away. They're not skeletons.
I kicked them off of a huge platform.
He like lowers the drone down, and he's like talking you through the subspace communicator, and he's like, there's a bunch of like broken glass on the street. I think their shit's like broke.
Their shit's broke. The glasses? Oh, so it brought him back to life once the watch was broke. Okay. will you fly down and go collect those people for me? Find people.
The
without,
people?
Yes. Go and see if you can get one of your drones to just follow along the other drone.
Drones are way better. Gonna do the drone thing.
See if you can find people without watches and just scoop them up and bring them back here because I want to ask them what happened.
Okay, I'm gonna start collecting any broken circuitry or fragments that are down here on the ground.
Okay.
I need to collect them in order to try and like see if maybe we could reverse engineer like our own watches. Maybe you could have one that looks the part but doesn't serve the function. People won't go after you, kind of thing.
I would appreciate it. But I think finding those people is also a pretty high
Drones are on it.
Thank you. I'm gonna look on my supercomputer with Dr. Evil Guy.
Cross-referencing images from when we saw the dead people, trying to identify clothing with the drones in order to see if we can locate the same people.
And I'm like, awesome.
Also gonna go get a wristwatch and a chicken burger bar.
And I'm like, awesome. Would you grab Dude one, please? I'll give you money for it.
You'll give me money for it?
Yeah.
Can you give me money for it now? That'd be
if you come back up here, I will give you money for it.
Zoom.
Gives you money for it.
You only have $7. How much do you give him?
$7.
Oh shit! That's very generous of you. Except he doesn't know how much you have. He goes, "This will get me like one thing.
Like,
I could get him like some fries." Oh, you're buying? Oh, okay. I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's generous.
Yeah. So
Matt goes, also, dang it, plain not plain. That's my plain white. He said it would be a meme if plain white picks me up. Oh, because he doesn't have a watch.
Yeah. So my whole thing is I like put my hand over my subspace communicator so he can't hear me specifically, and I turned to dude.
Hey, why is it dark? It says plain white.
And I'm like, oh, it's fucking up.
I mean, I can still hear you fine. It's dark.
So I take my hand off.
Matt said, like, just turn it off.
I turn it off.
Okay.
Okay, so I turned to plain white. Not to plain white. So I turned it off. And then I looked at plain white. I'm like, right?
He was like, oh, it just looks like it's off.
I turned to...
the Dr. Evil guy goes, it looks like you just turned it off. It doesn't look like it's broken.
And I'm like, yeah, I just turned it off. So what do you think we should do in order to figure out how to collect the rest of these gems? There are obviously magical creatures on the planet. They're obviously trying
Yo,
to
Ari's
collect
so
this
cool.
shit.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
I turned my thing back on and I'm like, hey, plain white, can you link up access to your satellite from with our supercomputer so that we can scan the planet for
Give me access to the VPN. Zoom, a plane flies under your screen, and on the plane's back is like a little like monitor thing, but it's like a digital thing. Like you see like a full graphic and everything.
And like giving the information. So I'm like, hey.
Ari's so cool. We're playing an RPG.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, I'm wanting to scan the planet for magical signatures.
He's like, I don't have like the technology to do that. I don't fully understand magic.
Is there a way that I can research that? I mean, you seem to have a knowledge of like research.
Ari said, oh, cool. Most definitely cool.
Oh, shit. Wait, hold on. I have an idea. If I give you a signature, can you scan for it?
It'll be very specific. I feel like I'll just ping the same thing you gave me. I can try and have like an evolutionary algorithm try and like look at that signature and then like change it in different ways and see if it can detect similar changes. But if magic is too close to other forms of electromagnetism, it'll just ring up like light bulbs and shit. It's like, that's also magic. If that's like the closest other thing, you know what I mean?
Is magic akin to electromagnetism?
I don't know, I'm just telling you. Like, yeah, if they are like close, I may just get a bunch of pings and I'll just be like, it's probably not working.
Okay. So...
Magic also could just be everywhere, and then it wouldn't be helpful. It would be a thing where it's like, we can't see magic, but the satellite suddenly goes, oh, that's what magic's like? And then we just aren't anywhere closer.
I get you. Can you look for things that aren't humans or normal animals from the Earth? Like, alive things that are of, like, a fantasy or magical nature. Like, can you do, like, a digital image scan of the Earth?
He asked if we're roommates. No, we just go to the same school. I can load it up with a bunch of images of like mythological creatures from like stories and stuff, but I feel like it's gonna flag things like Disneyland, because it'll look more like the fantasy, like dumb version rather than the real version. If I had a bunch of images of actual magical creatures, it would be way easier to do that. Wait, there's like one of everything in Springdale. There must be like a Springdale like magic like repository or like a Springdale like fantasy zoo or some shit. That probably would be useful.
Okay, so I'm gonna just look up on my supercomputer where that's at.
Okay. Roll. Do you have the rollers up?
Yeah.
Roll 2d20. Thank you. I fucked that up before.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to roll a d6 and be like, why are you always so low?
6, yeah. I'm gonna go for the one on the side.
Okay.
16.
There's one 27 miles away.
27 miles away. Okay. You just add them together. Okay. So, I'd say.
Wait, which did you search for?
Magic depository. I was gonna say suppository.
Depository? Okay. The magic depository is 27 miles away.
Okay.
Matt said, actually, what would plain white do to me if you found me? Follow Memer's orders or try to kill or apprehend me? Matt, you don't know. You're not actually talking to me.
So let's go. Plain white, can you send a drone over here to take me and dude to, or a plane over here to take me and dude to the magic repository? Thank you. Zoom. Alright, so me and dude get in the plane.
Okay. It like lands onto your pad. It takes a little bit. It has to like angle and everything, and it's an AI driving. So yeah. You get in the plane? Okay. There immediately, as soon as you walk in the plane, there's like a robot butler, and he's like, "Your ginger ales."
And I'm like, "Thank you, sir." And I take a drink, and I'm like, "This is a really nice thing. This is really convenient. It's great that you put so much effort into this."
Sugared peanuts are over there.
And I'm like, "Thank you so much. Can we play Drake?"
Yeah, you guys can listen to some Drake. And you like hit like a stereo. There's like some leather seats. When you listen to the Drake, you notice there are no lyrics. It's just like the beat.
And I'm like,
And Plain White's like, I know, right? Like, it's really his like beats that are bumping. I don't fuck with his lyricism that much. He goes too much with the like, you relate to it, right? No bars, right? Relate.
And I'm like, have you ever heard HYFR?
I have not.
It's really good.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite, at least like verses by him. But anyway, you should check that out. So is it there yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the plane is like searching for a place to land. Do a check. No really close places for me to land. Rerouting to closer landing strip.
Thank you.
Do a check. Not a lot of good places to land in this area. Now 2 miles out, searching for better landing location. Searching. Oh no. Now 3 miles out, no good places to land. Searching. Oh, 3 miles out, there is a place for me to land. It lands and goes, I apologize for the inconvenience.
You're good. Do you have wheels?
Yes, but I am not street legal to drive.
Oh my god, I'm gonna talk about legal. Let's just go.
Sorry, I'm not allowed.
Goddamn. Alright, wait. It's an AI. I can convince it.
Plain White's like, I'll send smaller drone pads that you can ride on. Yeah.
Okay,
Please don't try to corrupt my AI. It's linked to me. It'll be like, Plain White, you broke the law.
Okay.
The drone pads come out of the plane.
I'm like, why could what? This would have been a simpler solution for the AI to tell me. So we get on, and I'm like, can you take us to the suppository depository?
What?
depository. Can you take us to the magic depository?
The magic depository. Okay. I was like, the suppository depository. You want things in your anus? The drones take you and the Dr. Evil guy to the magic depository, and the Dr. Evil guy is like, I don't want things in my anus. As you arrive at the magic depository, it's just these two big metal vat buildings that have like doors, but no stairs, and the doors are like kind of high in the air. Matt said, how slow is this plane moving that it's checking every 1 mile?
This is a really good question. Either that or it's saying it really fast. And I'm like, so, I'm sorry, can you repeat the description?
Big metal vats.
Right.
Doors are really high up in the air.
Okay. So, I say, can you just lift us up to the doors?
Sure. As it attempts to, it goes, malfunction.
Like
Your
that.
subspace communicator goes, everything is fine. Everything is, and your drones like fall to the ground. Do a check to see like if you. Yes.
Okay.
How much did you take? No, you don't just take the average. 1.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a light fall. Let's
Dr.
see.
Evil guy fine? That's a good question.
Do a check for Dr. Evil guy.
2.
No, that was the check to see if he like was okay.
Oh, well, yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I'm sorry you took a spill.
And I'm like, you're good.
I am.
Yeah. So, I guess what I'm gonna do, I call out to the doors. And I'm like, hey, someone let us in.
No one answered.
So, I throw a shoe at the metal thing, very lightly.
It just goes dink and bounces off.
I go up and press it against there.
The shoe against the thing.
Yeah.
You're
Does
doing
it do
that.
anything?
Dr. Evil guy is like, what are you doing?
I'm like, can you touch this for me?
Sure. He walks up and he touches the vat.
Doesn't do anything? Okay. I'm like, we're gonna try and climb up this, okay?
You look up. It's like a smooth metal vat.
And I'm like, I got this.
Dr. Evil guy's like, so what's the plan for climbing?
Straight up small black holes that increase and decrease in size.
Oh, okay. Can you make... No, it's never been a you can make as many as you want for, like, no cost.
Right.
So how many are you making to, like, get up there?
2 for my head.
And you're just like,
Yeah.
I see what you're doing. Okay. So Dr. Evil guy's like, I guess I'll be down here then.
I'm like, climb on my back.
Wouldn't that be too much weight?
No, because I can make them as strong or as weak as I want to.
Wouldn't that just be a lot of strain on your hands then?
Yeah, but there's no effect in Jank here. It's like, oh, there's so much strain on your hands.
Dr. Evil guy's like, your funeral, dude. And he gets on your back. And he's like, whenever you're ready.
I start doing it.
So you start doing it. And it's pretty fucking tough.
And I'm like, alright, you can get off.
He's like, cool. And he like jumps off your back.
I'm like, will you start like walking around the area like without getting into trouble? Like just observe shit and let me know what you find out. Here's my phone number.
What did you do? To like hand the phone. You were like, here's my, and I'm like, do you have like cards and shit? You're like on a vat.
I unleash one of my hands. I like write some shit. And then I'm like, here's my phone number.
You wrote it on what?
A piece of napkin that was in my pocket.
What, and you just carry pins?
Yeah.
Check to see if you carry napkins. You don't. Check to see if you carry pins.
I do.
You do.
Fuck.
You're like, I have a writing utensil.
I write it on the fucking thing.
On the. This is my number.
And then I'm like, did you get it?
And the Dr. Evil guy is like, it may not be a good idea because you were like, don't get in any trouble. And I can be like nonchalant up until someone goes, where's your wristband? And then like, there's nothing. I'd rather just be nearby and I can look out for you. Because while you're climbing, someone could just look up and be like, you don't have one. So it would be better for me to watch your back, right?
I guess so, but then if someone grabs you and is like, where's your wristband? Hey, where's his wristband? It's going to be the same thing.
Well, if I keep my back to the vat and I just like keep watch, you know, I'm like scout. You know what I mean? Yeah, no one can sneak up on me at that point, right? Please don't fall on me.
Okay. So I keep climbing.
Okay.
You get to the top.
You get to the top?
Yeah. To the door.
I was about to say, you're at the top of the vat? Completely dodged the door. So you arrived at the door.
So I take my shoe off with one hand. I'm still holding the fucking thing. And I, like, tap it against the door.
You knock?
Yeah.
You notice there's, like, a fingerprint scanner.
This is gonna be the fucking magic school. And I'm gonna be so pissed. Let me see my thing. Let me see my list. Let me see my whip. Let me see this grip.
Ooh. Matt said, glad to see that Jet screws us all equally.
Right. Alright, so I try it.
The fingerprint scanner?
Yeah.
No magic qualities identified.
I open up the singularity that's in my pocket. Not enough for the shit to come out, but just enough to like feel the like magic like radiation or whatever. And I like hold that up.
How do you know how much that is?
Because every time I fucked with it, it said like you felt like a thing.
But that's like you like trying to interact with it kind of thing. This is you just like opening a door to a room that has it in it.
So I open the thing slightly and I stick my hand in and I like start fucking with it.
You're like,
yeah.
You're just like slapping it, nothing's happening.
So I grab it carefully, keeping the black hole open. Pull it out, just barely.
Wait, hold on. If you're holding a black hole here,
yeah.
and you're reaching for a crystal here,
Yeah.
and you were holding on to the vat with your hands,
Oh,
are you
right.
falling?
Wait.
Do a check.
Okay, wait.
You didn't think about it in time.
This power creates a version of myself to be hit whenever the realm is about to be hit or take damage or something.
Do a check to see if you're fast enough to use the power before you just hit the ground.
It's a power.
I know it's a power, but you gotta like be on your P's and Q's. You
fuck?
kind of
So
Looney
then, no,
Tunes
I'm
yourself.
not gonna do it. Because if there's a chance I'm gonna fuck up, then I'm gonna fuck up. And it's like, oh, and then you use the power, and then you lost the power usage. No, I'm gonna just check 10-1. I survive. I'm fine.
You like fall that distance and you
And
fall on Dr. Evil Guy. He's like, the one thing I asked.
I have to do a check, right?
That was the check to like the reason why you took like no damage and it's a 10-1 is because you dick the shit out of it.
Okay.
There has to be like a reason why like you don't get fucked, and that actually makes a lot of sense because he's right under you, and he was like, "Don't follow me."
I'm like, are you okay?
Do a check to see if he's okay.
14-2. He's fine as fuck.
He's like, my spleen caught your fall, and I don't need that shit.
Oh my god.
Spleens are unnecessary.
Nope. Okay. So I.
Oh, brace your eyes.
So
I don't think I
very
ever
carefully
successfully blocked.
take the skull out with the black hole still open, and I like hold it in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Is it doing anything?
It's just there. Dr. Evil Guy is like, that looks cool.
And I'm like, thank you.
I remember when we got that now.
And I'm like, yeah, it means a lot. Thank you for helping me with it. It's a really powerful item. My whole thing is, I want to touch it to a sensor. I don't know if it's gonna fuck me.
Why would it?
Because every time I fucked with this thing, it's always fucked me. Alright, so I use the black hole that was the singularity for this thing, and I like compress it into my hand, I just grab it, and I like stick it onto the wall, and and I like put my legs in the wall, and I like wrap them around as best I can.
You can't. It's like too round and smooth. They're like cylinder vats. To
So
where
then-
there's like nothing really for your legs to grip onto.
Okay. So then what I do is I hold it like this, and I tuck my shirt in my pants, and then
Steve
I put the
Urkel.
skull. Yeah, and then I put the skull in there, and I have it like very secure. And I have my one hand, and then I make the second one, and stick it on there.
So how many power usages have you done?
3.
3? 1, 2.
And then I fell.
New thing. Yeah, like after you fell.
Yeah.
And you're using the skull black hole for this hand?
Yes.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
So.
Mm.
Turn out the shit. Get to the door.
There's the scanner.
Very I'm holding my fucking one hand. I'm holding my one hand onto there and making it big enough to hold me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I take the skull out and I very carefully hold it and I very carefully put it up to the scanner.
Not a fingerprint.
I hold the skull and I touch my finger.
Not a magical fingerprint.
So a group created this, right?
You're not sure.
Someone created this.
You're also not sure.
Got this. Put the skull in. I still have my hand on this thing. I put it in with one hand. I use my convince power to convince whatever is controlling the door to open it for me and to let me in without any consequence, to let me through all this building, this barriers, whoever like controls this building.
To convince anyone or any group?
Yeah.
This is a thing.
Whoever controls the building.
Whoever controls the building?
To let me through this security and any other security measures without any negative effects.
When you attempt to use the power, it doesn't sense a person.
It doesn't sense a person?
Like, it doesn't sense, like, a thing that you could convince. So it does the physical. But it's like, you can detect that it's, like, no target. Like, there's no, like, real thing to hit.
Okay, so I'm like, fuck this. What are the other magic? I look on my subspace communicator. I still have one hand. I'm looking at my subspace communicator. And I'm like, what is the next magic type place?
Well, he talked about the mythical creature, like, zoo thing. But as you search, Springdale has, like, like, anything you could imagine exists in Springdale somewhere. So there are, like, just a bunch of, like, you just make some shit up. Like, Magic Booger Emporium is there. Magic Artifact Museum is there. Magic,
Magic, okay, fuck.
Magic YMCA.
I look up the magic, burglar, department.
Magic Burglar Department?
People who specifically burgle things that are magical.
Do you, like, state that?
I look it up.
What did you type? Or, like, say or whatever?
Magic burglar department specifically for people who burgle magical places.
Oh, you're looking for, like, the Thieves of Magical Artifacts Club.
No.
The
People
Thieves
who
of
break
Magic.
into specifically magical places, not places that contain magical items.
So the Magic Breaking and Entering Club.
Sure.
Okay. At first, it seemed like you just wanted to go to a group of a bunch of magic thieves that just steal shit and are magical.
No.
Okay.
The magic fucking locksmith
Magic locksmith.
place that can break into any advanced magical lock.
Okay, magic locksmith. Do a check to see how far away that would be.
I'm gonna say 1.
Okay. So 21 miles away from here is the magic locksmith place.
So I slowly, very carefully climb the fuck down. I'm like, dude, we gotta go.
You're one-handing it?
Yeah. No. Okay. I'm one-handing it, but the way I climbed down,
you said...
I am one-handing it. I didn't say I did that, though. The way I climbed down. No, I said I'm one-handing it. The way I climbed down.
Did you not do this?
I did not.
Nigga, you did not. No.
Okay.
Hit me with the check.
Good as fuck.
Dr. Evil Guy's like, oh, you actually, you landed on this nigga's head. Damn it. First time he lucked out. He took 5.
I'm like, I'm sorry. This has been a difficult journey. We're gonna put you back in the thing. We're gonna get you some ginger ale.
Where's his fucking chicken burger? You try to, and then you're like, it's doing the everything is fine thing again.
I have the black hole still in my hand. I open it, I stick the skull back in, close it down into a singularity, put it in my pocket. Check this shit.
It's still doing the everything is fine thing?
Okay, I see where the drones would drop this off on. I say, let's get on the drones to drop this off and get back in plain white split.
When you go over to the drones, they're like, still like malfunctioned or whatever, from before.
Okay. So I look toward the direction that we flew in to see what the plane's up to.
Okay. Plane's doing fine, it seems like.
I walk over to the plane.
Okay.
3 miles away.
You walk 3 miles. Before even that, like so many yards away, your subspace communicator is like fine.
I call plane right.
Hey.
Hey, dude. Your drones got messed up. I'm sorry about it. Because we tried to get into this magic place to see if we could find the rest of these magical items. It's not.
New drones, they come out of the plane and they're like flying.
I'm like, thank you so much. Let's go back to the plane. We gotta go to this magical locksmith guy to break into this place.
So much crime.
Fuck it. I'm changing what I'm gonna do. I wanna go to the magical historian and artifact museum.
Okay. Check to see how many miles away that is. 14.
Okay, let's go. Get in the plane.
You get in the plane?
With you.
Do you tell it?
What?
The plane's like, oh, where would you like to go?
Yes, I do. But before I do that,
yes,
I
I
get
do.
on Plain White's subspace, and I'm like, hey, dude wants his chicken burger. Are you good with the chicken burgers? Were you able to get them? I'm like, you took my $7. You better have one for him.
I'm gonna buy it after I eat this.
I'm like, you have little drones. Could you just eat that, walk up to the thing, order the second one, and then send it over?
He like puts like some sauce on it. He's like, drone, and like a drone comes up, and he's like, here's $7. Get him the number 2 combo. It's on it.
Awesome, thank you. I hope you enjoy that.
You have no idea how much I'm gonna enjoy.
Okay, meet us when you're done at this place. Thank you. So,
I got the burger nuggets too. Oh,
that is good.
Oh
Okay,
shit, dude.
So I go. So I go to the. I get in the plane and we go to the thing. And I tell him, hey, the burger's on the way. He's gonna send a drone with it, and then he's gonna meet us.
I mean, at least I got these sugared peanuts and ginger ale on my way. This is tits.
It really is. It's nice. You built a nice party. Okay.
It's playing Started from the Bottom, but only the beat.
And I'm like, started from the bottom. Started from the bottom. Now we're going to the magic place.
So your plane is now getting within like the area of like the artifact museum, looking for a place to land. Checking within 1 mile. None within this area. Checking within 2 miles. Yes. Landing now. Sorry for the inconvenience.
You're fine. So I asked it to remove 2 of the little tiny drones. take us?
Oh, yes. Contacting Plain White for permission. The ketchup shake, though. Oh my gosh. Thought it would be gross.
Plain
How
White.
did they make tomatoes like this? Ah,
Plain
holy
White, can you let
shit.
us have access
Does he
to
want a
the thing?
ketchup shake? This is... Dr.
Is
Evil
it
got
gonna
one.
cost more than the
Mhm.
$7? I don't have more than $7.
Oh, sorry, he's missing out. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hit it up. Oh.
Thank you.
Hot dog fries. Oh my gosh. They're in buns, dude. They're
Okay,
in fried
I'll
buns.
talk to you later. So I go to, I get on the drink and we go.
Mhm.
Okay. So we get there, I knock on the door.
You knock on the door?
Yeah.
Matt said true ecstasy. You knock on the door, but they're like open. They're like open
I just
doors.
walk in.
Okay. There's a guy who's like a butler, and he's like, "How may I help?"
I'm like, yes, I'm looking for someone who can give me some answers to searching for magical artifacts.
Oh, well, this is a museum full of magical artifacts. If you want to actually talk with a historian, you want to go to like the magical historians.
I did, and that's what I said. When I asked you for the thing, I said magical history and museum of artifacts.
Well, I mean, this museum has plenty of history and like artifacts.
Can you tell me about specifically these gems that I'm looking for that seem to control some like giant fate of the universe and it all?
The butler's like, please leave for your own safety.
I'm like, okay.
There have been creatures that have been searching for those.
I need to find one, beat its ass, and then get it to do this fucking fingerprint scanner.
Be careful. They're dangerous.
I'm like, I know, I have black holes, I can just take it.
Hopefully that'll be enough to help.
I mean, I'm positive it will be. And I want to
You don't have a wrist. Be careful. There's even more danger than you know.
I'm like, I know exactly how I don't think you know. I don't think you know that I've been fucking with this shit for a minute. Would you like to come on these adventures? You seem like you're a history nut. So if I can come along with us, I'd protect you from these fucking creatures you're worried about. It'd be cool.
Oh, well, they're not after me. And I have a wristband. And this is my job. And as you know, I am a history
I
nut.
ripped the fuck out of his wristband, and I'm like, not anymore.
Oh, no, I have to go get a new wristband.
I'm like, or just...
Be hunted? No offense. You
I'm
seem like a
here you
good
go.
person.
Here, I'm gonna give it back.
Oh, thank you.
Leave the app.
I appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you calling me a good person after I ripped you. I didn't mean to do that. I'm just trying to get you to come on this adventure because it seems like fun. I don't know, you seem like a cool guy.
I don't want to lose my job. I love this job.
Understandable. Okay.
Thank you. Under other circumstances, I could see
Hit
this
me
being-
up when you're off. How about that?
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay, do you have a piece of paper?
Could you do a check real quick? I do happen to have a piece of
I'm
it.
like, great.
Could you
I
do
have a
another
pen.
check?
No, I have a pen.
No. Unrelated. It seems like my shift won't be ending for another. Do a check. 27 hours. I'll be here for like over a day in 3 hours more.
And I'm like, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so I write down my number and I give it to him. And I'm like, hit me up. So
Sorry,
I
we had
jump on
some
the
lag.
thing, jump on the things and we fly back to the thing. And then I'm like, hey, can you take us to this place?
I like how you're like, expedite. So, where are you guys going?
To
You just said this place.
we get back on the road. Go back to church. I'm like, what is the place? Will you write down the name of the place for me?
Oh, you mean the Magic Historian?
Yes.
They're right across the street.
Thank you. We walk across the street to the Magic Historians.
Matt's like, make sure to deduct points whenever they do some negativity stuff, because that has to do with point reduction for like the watches or whatever.
We walk across the street to the Magic Historians.
Okay.
Awesome. Go in.
There are like a bunch of like Greek statues and everything. and
Awesome. I'm
Some
like,
of them are just penises.
I get you. I'm like, hey, nice penis. I need to talk to somebody about trying
You're
to
in like a
find-
hallway right now.
I'm just
Dr. Evil
kidding.
guy's like, who are you? Are you talking to the penises?
I'm like, yeah. So I walk down the hallway.
Okay, so you're
Carefully.
carefully moving down the hallway. You notice that there's like a loaf of bread sitting on the ground.
I say hello. I say, oh.
It sounds like a muffled voice coming from under the bread.
I very gently lift up the bread, move it several centimeters, and very gently place it back down.
So you move it several centimeters. Like, as you lift it up and move it, hello! And then you place it back down. And then you...
I lift it up very gently turn it, and look.
So you lift the bread up gently, you turn the bread to look at the other side. Gently. And it's a loaf of bread.
I'm like, hello?
I'm down here.
Down where?
On the ground.
I look at the ground.
I was under the bread. Hello, that's my house.
I'm like, oh, that's cool. Hey, are you the magic historian?
Oh, no. They brought me here for, I think they called it experiments?
And I'm like, that sounds interesting.
Is it like the gum?
Like the gum. What gum?
Like, I imagine it's like extreme spearmint, right?
Almost.
Almost?
It's like they want to test you to see what you're made of and what you do.
Oh, I made fluffy stuff. And he like pats his body and he's made a dough. No, he's a, as my friends like to call him, punk ass bitch.
And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, you're a pretty fucking cool dude. Do you wanna like get in my pocket? Because it seems like otherwise they're gonna like use you for experiments and try and hurt you. Experiments is like they want to test you, and it might be causing bodily harm.
And I don't want harm to my body at all. Do you mind if you take my house with you?
I'm like, yeah, not at all.
Oh, thank you. He climbs up your body.
Before he gets in, I'm like, hey, do you have any special abilities or any cool things I should know about? Because you might be useful to me.
I'm made of dough.
And I'm like, can you do things to dough?
I'm cute. And he like pokes his like cheek and it like ripples across his whole body.
And I'm like, that's really adorable. Okay.
Oh, thank you. And he like snuggles into your pocket head first. He like digs in and then he like peeks his head out and he's like, boop.
And I'm like, that's adorable. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from, I believe they call it the Springdale Market.
And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. So I continued on that.
Okay. As you continue down the hall, he's like, my family and friends live under a continually rotating set of houses as people come and take our houses away. But the nice historian people said they'll take me and my house so we don't have to be separated. I was really happy. I wanted to try that gum.
That's nice. I'm sure we can find you some gum. They have gum at the store you were at, actually.
Oh, the place of oppression.
I'm sorry to hear about that. At some point we can go and rescue your family.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I just have to tell you, places outside the store are kind of dangerous. They have like things that can eat your house.
Oh, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, a lot of people buy those things specifically to eat them. But let's continue. So I go down the hall.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay.
And I'm like, thanks, narrator.
Matt said, actually, unless the point influx is more than the penalty, shouldn't murder drastically lower points? Hence, how does stealing points work? Or is the crime stealing, or which is a smaller crime? Then he said, oh God, the dope people. You turn down a hallway, and you notice that there's like a dog with a visor on that has like a green LED that's like zzz, 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 and it goes beep, 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 beep. The dough. Return the dough.
Like,
the dog is like talking.
I'm gonna go ahead and use my fucking power to convince him.
You're gonna use the convince power? Yeah. Have you been marking your usages?
I haven't because it's on here, but I have 3 right now.
Like you've used 3 or?
I've used 3.
Yeah, it's like I have 3 and it's
I have
like
12
fuck.
left. I have 12 left.
So you're about to use another one though?
Yes.
So you'll be down to 11?
Yes.
So you're gonna use your what power?
Convince.
To convince the dog?
Yes. To join me and to stop looking for the dope person. To help the dope person as well.
Okay. So you use your convince power on the dog, and the dog is like, I would love to do and like the visor thing like shocks the fuck out of it, and the dog falls and dies. Then its limbs shake, and it like stands back up, and it goes, return the dough.
And I'm like, oh. So then I use a black hole and I crush it into a singularity.
Okay. The dog is gonna attempt to dodge the black hole.
You can't dodge a black hole. You can't. I can just make it bigger. You can be like, I'm gonna get like to the side of the hole. And I'd be like, no. It's the whole hole.
It's too late. But can it like try to like dart at you?
I'll open it to the size of the hole. So it's gonna be like, and it's gonna run into a black hole that's sucking shit in, and then I'll just close it.
You're like, there's no hope for this dog. Can the dog possibly charge at you faster than you?
It would. The black hole is like a creation from the singular, so it'd be like crazy quick. Like it'd expand at like an infinite rate. Can it run faster than like an infinite rate?
If so, I imagine it'll be a hard ass tackle.
Yeah.
We'll have to check. You got him. You're at 11 powers.
Awesome. So, I continue down the hole.
Matt said, "Resist the dark hole, doggo." You continue down the hole. There are now 2 of those dogs. The dough. Return the dough.
Same singularity I crushed it into to just expand it again. And I shoot the dead dog out at the other 2 dogs. And I'm like, this is what happens.
The other 2 dogs jump up and like grab the dog in their mouths and start ripping it from limb and like eating it and going like, thank you for the nourishment. Now return the dough.
And I'm like, I'll let you have that. I'm gonna walk past. If you try to come here, I'm gonna open this thing up and it'll kill you. So I slowly start walking down the hole, aiming the black hole at them, and like having it expand.
Grrr, grrr. They have like their paws out and they're like shuffling like along like the sides of the wall, but they like keep watching.
And I'm continuing to do that as I like pass them up.
Now, Willis! And the dog jumps from behind you and goes in for like a strike. Are you fast enough to react?
So I can test it.
No, that was 1 to 20. Yes. Let's see. Matt says it is in fact a power that can be resisted.
You got like 2 minutes. You got the fuck out of me.
Okay, check the damage. You took 8 damage. How much health do you have?
I lost 1, so 41 health, now 8, so,
33. Yeah, you have 33 right now. The dog has, like, ground its teeth, like, in near your shoulder, and the Dr. Evil guy is like, this has been so weird. Do you need help?
I'm like, yeah, if you don't mind.
He punches the dog in the face as it's on your shoulder. Do it.
I'm like, will you try and break that visor that's on its head?
Do a check to see how much damage she dealt. Because the dog isn't going to dodge. It's like on your shoulder. Damn. 15 damage to the dog. So he knocks the dog off your shoulder, but because the dog's teeth were like in,
like
it tears. Yeah, so you would take damage from it. You only took 1. You're at 32 health. The dog is knocked unconscious. Meanwhile, the other dogs have been like repositioning themselves. But like
facing them.
But you were like,
okay,
dog,
so
and
quickly like fucking move.
Well, this is like a check kind of thing. You would see if you could react fast enough.
No.
They like plan. So like the 2 dogs are gonna both try to dart in for your legs. Evil guy, like Dr. Evil guy, is gonna try to kick one of them, but it's still gonna be a speed check. And the other one is kind of going in without like having anything necessarily blocking it. Well, remember, you already, yeah, so you know that like you don't do that in time. So Dr. Evil stomps that other one. You only have to worry about 1 bite coming in from one of your legs. I guess that would be you rolling to... Is that... What did you roll? Just okay, so you took 11. So you went from 32 to 21. Yo, pineapples. Welcome, Kirby. Good to have you. So you're now at, like,
Great. So as I do that,
You said
we have
21,
like a few
right?
seconds left. I'm gonna
okay.
sprint down the hall and be like, I need to talk to that.
And the Dr. Evil guy's like, whoa, did you just leave me with these fucking
And I turn
dogs?
around and I open the black hole and I suck the dog. And I close it real quick. And I'm
What
like,
about your boy? He would be like right there.
I open it big enough so that the fucking dog started. Okay.
You sucked, homeboy.
So I open the black hole and I'm like, are you good?
Do a check.
He's good as fuck. So
The dogs are still here.
So I reach in just barely and I'm like, grab my hand.
Okay, check to see if a dog gets your hand instead of a guy. You made it.
Awesome. So pull
Yeah.
it out. Close it.
How is it just enough for you to grab a hand, but also enough to pull a whole guy out?
I like expanded around his body.
Okay, like as you pull.
Yeah.
Cool. So Kirby said Meta Knight is here. Matt said wristbands are
So
evil,
now,
don't
like,
take
let's-
one. There's a
thank you.
non-existent message.
I don't know. Let's get the fuck
That's
out.
the end of the year.
I'm trying to find the historian. I called out to the historian.
Yeah, you did.
Did he not answer?
Not yet.
Why?
You've been like searching for him.
What the fuck?
You don't know how close he is.
What the fuck?
What do you think?
Didn't do anything. I didn't get to do anything.
It sounds like you did hella shit.
Nah.
Hung out on an airplane and listened to some Drake. Hey,
Most of my thing was travel.
eating those some sweet peanuts. Yeah, you're fucking great.
No.
Kirby said, "What is your max health, memer?"
42.
You literally fell to half health. Matt said, "Doesn't matter, end of session." Yeah, like he'll just get it back next session. But yeah, what are you excited to learn more about?
I didn't learn anything.
What? I never understand when you guys say that. You learned about like the wristband system. Something weird going on back at like Springdale Apartments. You met like the butler guy that you liked. You met the dough guy that you thought was cute. You figured out that there's all this magic stuff that exists in the world. This like hella things. You learn that ketchup shakes are actually really good.
I bet they're not.
You haven't tried
Dude
them.
never got his food.
You guys keep moving around.
I hope he gets his food. There
Hey.
should be a drone that comes and brings him.
Let's see. Kirby said 42, right? Yeah. 42 is his max health. Matt said, "We learned so little." You learned so much. This is okay. Learn things that like dramatically change like perception of world. I didn't get what I want, so I learned nothing.
No, but the thing is, I mean, that's what I like about literally whatever, is that, like, the longer you want to ask questions, I'll just be like, so you can move on. And also, like, if there's something that happens that's relevant, I don't, like, keep putting things in your way that stop you from getting your next answer. I'm just like, oh, that's the answer to that.
Well, you also are using like, well, I'm using like 411, which is like, this is like an information providing service. And it's not like when you ask subspace questions, it was like, nigga, I don't know. It was like, what do the watches do? Oh, they do all these things. Where's the magic place? Oh, it's right over here. So, I mean, you still were using an information source and getting the answers you wanted. You're not drilling it. You're not like a Tej who's like, nigga, my whole session's on this bitch. What can I know? So, I mean, it has been a reliable information source that you use throughout the course of the adventure.
Right, that's not my argument. My argument is, like, that in a literally whatever adventure, you can move through the adventure and get to, like, a different adventure in a session.
They also are like unlimited time-based things.
Right.
And also, I think a big difference between like how you guys play Jank Heroes and how I play literally whatever, and even how I play Jank Heroes. Like when I was in Matt's session, I literally was like, let me learn about like dimensional energy. I'm in a library, I'm reading a book, and he's like, every time you read the book, it takes half as long to like read the book. So I did it to the point where it's like, it takes less than a second for you to read the whole book, and you like retain so much knowledge. I just try to learn a lot in these worlds and like try to do the most with my knowledge. So it's not I want to do specific task in world and like achieve it. It's just like I want to like learn things and I want to like find ways to learn more. So it's harder to dissatisfy me. Any like roadblock you would give me would be like, oh, I learned that like that's a thing, and I'm gonna try to learn more about it. And it's a really different approach, I guess.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I don't feel like the game has been like unfair to you in any way. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah. Let's see. So, Kirby said, "It's the memer, don't question things." Matt said, "Sure, in the context of our knowledge compared to what we should know, we learn a decent bit, but nothing is a constant enough to be consistent to learn about." Josiah FTW said, "Hi, yo Josiah." Matt said, "Because of how much we heel turn, we never stay with a scenario long enough for the knowledge to be useful." Matt said, "In my game, I keep things relatively consistent so that you can learn/read." Consistency has a lot to do with like what lore has been set in stone. So it's about like, is this lore still the way we learned it before, right? But if you don't dig for knowledge, there's less to be consistent in the first place. So do you feel like you've learned knowledge in the game, and then suddenly it's like, that knowledge just isn't right anymore? Because that would be the lack of consistency then.
I don't think that it's not right anymore. I think it's right. It just no longer becomes useful because you power scale.
Power scale.
You situation scale.
Where it's like, you're in like a situation where you gotta like figure out how to deal with it, and it may not be like immediately obvious kind of thing.
Well, but not only that, it'll be a thing where it's like, oh, so I learned this thing in the past, and I'm trying to use that. But this specific scenario makes it to where you can't use things you've learned in the past. So you have to come up with something new. I feel like that's where that changes. It's like, oh, now I'm on a whole adventure for like several episodes that I just can't use a specific thing. Like my powers with the magic skulls, with the crystals.
What do you feel like is your current inhibitor? Like the thing that would like hold you back? Like you're like, oh, I can't use my banana.
It's more, I can't find people. Like I'm trying to be like, oh, I like locate this person. That's what I'm trying to do. And then it's like, oh, but you just can't.
I mean, it doesn't seem like you just can't. It seems like you just went into a building. So far, the only thing you've seen is like the equivalent of like guard dogs and a guy that was being like held prisoner. You haven't like met anyone else.
But also, I was like looking for things related to that magic place, and you were like, there's nothing.
What do you mean?
So I was like, anybody who controls this. So that'd be like anybody who's associated.
You realize that like there must be like no person who's over the magic depository. That's like a new thing you learned. You just didn't dig any deeper. You just don't know like where it came from or how it exists. It's like a mystery. Maybe something the historian might be able to hit you up with. You could like figure out what's up and why you couldn't target someone. But your character didn't hear that from me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was out of game.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like that's my biggest complaint most of the time. When like you or Matt hit me up, it'll be like, this didn't make any sense, and it'll be like, did you look into it? And you're like, no, and it's like, well, yeah, it wouldn't make any sense. You didn't learn anything more about it.
I don't know. I wish it was something that sort of, I guess like with like if there was more relevant information that came through, regardless of if you're trying to do something else, if it's something that affects like the whole world.
Well, everything is so relative in this kind of thing, right? And I feel like you got a lot of like world important information within like a very quick bit of your session. You learned about like the risk stuff, but it's still somewhat of a mystery. You know,
No,
I guess I would want more of a direct, like, I want to know this for you to get it kind of thing. Only on occasion does shit just get thrown straight at.
well, I feel like I guess that's what I mean. Is like if you're looking for something, even if you decide to go a different route, I feel like it would be interesting to still have like things because you have that information, like to put things into this new scenario, whatever they're trying to do, that might be like a breadcrumb trail back to whatever their question was. In the sense that like when you were doing stuff with um, literally whatever and trying to figure out things about dude, it like slowly revealed more information to you, even when you weren't directly looking at the thing that would have given you more information for it. It was still like, oh, there are things that are like just gonna come out of their way and interact with you because it's like something relevant to your work and it's something that you would ask about specifically.
Well, it seems like that was as a consequence of me asking, though, in most cases. I can't think of a case where it's like I looked up something and it ended up interacting with me, but not because I didn't look it up. It's like, oh, you looked up the swamp monster stuff, so I'm gonna come kill you because you looked up the swamp monster stuff.
No, I mean,
Oh, you like called the Nico Papa Pizza guy and he took it the wrong way, so Nico Papa Pizza is gonna come get you.
there were some times where you were like, I'm gonna call the police, and it was like, no, it's this dude.
It's
Like, no
actually
matter
the
what,
other
yeah.
person. Yeah.
Or like, oh, you're in the hospital, but now you showed up there. Or like, oh, there's something going on, but now the thing from earlier, like with the elephants or whatever, would just like show up.
The elephants was more. Was that hinted at earlier, or was that just the elephants earlier?
It wasn't hinted at earlier, but there
Was
would
it
be
more that
specific
it's related to
situations.
Nico in some way? I guess I didn't get the elephant part.
So essentially, when you were going through the place,
Also, don't worry, Matt. I will hit up your chat because I know you've been posting a lot. I'm not gonna leave you hanging.
you were trying to figure out like why the elephants were there and shit like that. So then you ended up talking to one and he was like, oh, so we're here for this performance or whatever. This dude like did that, and you were like, oh, so it must be that he set this up or whatever. And then you kept using the elephants when you were trapped down in the hole to like be a reference point back to like if things were still normal outside of the hole.
So with the elephants, I feel like it was less questioning. It was more like I did a thing in the hopes of stopping the elephants, and the elephants just explained themselves.
Right.
That wasn't an ask. Like that's like
No.
really different. That's more with your thing where you're like the world should just kind of like give you like information. And I feel more against that because I feel like a big part of the game should be like characters want to explore certain things, but obstacles will be in their way. But as long as they persevere through those obstacles, they'll like get to their goal.
And that's fine if you have an unlimited amount of time. Because if I like play a video game and I feel like I didn't learn what I wanted to learn, I'll just keep playing the game. Either one until I run out of time and I decide I can't play anymore, or two until I get satisfied with whatever I'm looking for. Whereas if you're doing it like episodically, people enjoy episodes because they'll have like a start to finish. Like when you get out of it, even if you have more questions, there will be part of whatever you were looking for that was like resolved.
Not always.
Yeah, like no show's ever like, okay, so there's this guy, right? And he has to fight this big monster that came out of his chest that's like a demon that's telling him that like he's captured his family. And the only way to do that is to go through the time dimension and to discover the great power within. And
Because I mean, the big thing is that every little victory a hero gets on their quest ends up just being like, here are some breadcrumbs for like the next thing. And you can call anything that gets you to the breadcrumbs a victory. It's all about how you frame it. You know what I mean? The hero could spend a whole episode like, I gotta find the sword. If I get the sword, I'll be able to like beat like this big like monster thing. And by the end of the episode, they may not have like gotten to the sword, but they've gotten like closer to the sword, and that's like the like now I still have to like trek forward. And the sword itself is an arc. It's like a goal that the character is looking for and is driving.
But do you know the thing with like clowns where they pull their thing, where it's like a never-ending fucking handkerchief?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's sort of a thing with stories that, at least from what I'm piecing together, is something that you appreciate about them. That it is like a breadcrumb thing, but that you could, if you wanted to, as the creator of it, you could sort of go on forever with it. What I really like about stories is having that very finite, to surprise people by saying, no, this is, like, once they do something in the show, that'll be like the end of it. They've resolved their show's arc. But the show continues when they have to realize, now I have to live with that arc just not being there anymore. Like, I have to see myself as outside of that and being different and changing and leaving off at a point where people didn't necessarily expect it to end. That was maybe sincerely far later than the show would have ended on the final arc.
When it comes to that, I feel like a lot of people lose the big picture on Jank Heroes. If you look at where your character started, you were just drowning babies. Now you're adventuring around, flying around in planes, you have like an evil minion with you, you're trying to figure out what happened to your apartment building, everyone's wearing these crazy rich watches. If you look through, you've been on multiple arcs. Is he your
Can I
sidekick?
make him my sidekick? Like, how do I do that?
We'll have to find out. That's a very interesting question.
Well, let me ask you this: from other people playing and things like that, has anybody else had a sidekick?
It's iffy. Gerard has someone who seems like he might be his sidekick, and Gerard's very convinced, but we haven't really had too much evidence about it, except for whatever reason he kind of goes ultra instinct when he plays basketball. So I mean, we don't know a lot, but he might be his sidekick. Matt almost had an elf girl thing.
But
She's
then
dead. And then Matt almost had the girl that gave him his spectral armor, and she's dead.
Was it because he was like, I just don't want these people around?
Matt doesn't want anyone around. Matt almost had like the Speed Patrol as allies. They're dead. You know,
But that was a me thing.
real quick, let me read some Matt. Matt wrote a book. I gotta hit him up. Let's see. So, Matt said, in my game, I keep things relatively consistent so that you can learn/read, but lore includes the current events. If current events lack purpose, then the world isn't consistent. Whether or not a current event has purpose has a lot to do with what you are doing inside of that world. Also, could you possibly pull up a white background onto your laptop and turn it slightly this way? The lighting would be great. That's better, most def. Is there a way to full screen that? Okay, so now we're like better lit. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. So, let's see. Oh yeah, I was like referring to as like current events thing.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like the current events in the world, whether or not they're like relevant have to do with how you like pursue them.
Mm-hmm.
So if the character loses interest in something that's happening or changes interest to something else, then that becomes what drives the show. Matt got upset because he was really ready to face Master Dragon. The last episode set up for him and Master Dragon to more or less have a confrontation. But in the episode, Master Dragon disappears. Master Dragon's planet has been like taken by like somebody else. Matt is like, what the fuck? He ends up like arriving on Earth. There are these people who like ask him for help. He's like, nah. They're like, sure, you can just say no. And like he leaves. So Matt leaves and he's like really interested in the portal. Literally comes out of the portal and goes like, oh, are you looking for Master Dragon? And Matt's like, yeah. And then it's like, oh, well, I've noticed that you're really interested in like Solitude or whatever. And then Matt's like, no, I'm interested in wristwatches. And the guy goes, oh, well, I'm gonna head out. Have fun with the wristwatch thing. And like he leaves. And then Matt's like, why was Master Dragon in the story and suddenly he's like not a thing anymore? And I literally gave you a path that would have been like, he would have like talked about like Master Dragon stuff. And you said to his face, I'm not interested. I'm doing another thing. And he was like, oh, then I'm just gonna fuck off. And then, you know, so because you chose not to pursue the Master Dragon thing any further, your thing didn't like cruise on the Master Dragon any further.
I get you. I don't think. I mean, there's been a few things, but I don't think there's much of anything that I've ever been like, I'm just not gonna fuck with it. Like, I'll at least like deal with it.
What was interesting about you, turning it like to that,
Yeah.
right? You'll be like, get out of my way on the stairwell. I'm sorry. I can't tell you the thing, but can I go around you? I have this like magic thing. Can you tell me about it? I can't. I'll actually just die. I'll actually just kill you if you don't tell me. And you just murdered him.
Yeah.
But that's you choosing, like, I don't really want to pursue, like, that storyline. Well, no, it's actually the opposite. You're like, I really want to pursue this
And they're
storyline.
like, no.
And he's like, yeah, like, I can't. I can't, like, divulge that
But
information.
then I was like, I'm not gonna spend 14 episodes trying to go through this fucking Harry Potter kit.
But
I'm
yeah,
just
see,
not.
like, the character is making the active choice of, like, if this is going to be harder than just me doing this, then I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like you guys will pick and choose your battles. You'll be like, I either really want to hit this storyline specific, or no, that's just it. That's actually all you guys do.
Because there wouldn't be, like, otherwise you would never resolve anything. You'd just be like, and now I'm on this other thing, and I didn't resolve the first thing, and now I'm on a new thing, and I didn't resolve the other thing.
But that's like actually what ends up happening for the most part. You've been somewhat fairly consistent. You went from like, I want money to I want gems.
So that I can get money. Like, it's going back.
But Matt goes like kind of all over the place, and rather than like sticking to one thing, he'll go like, oh well, if I'm not able to do that easily, I'll try another thing. And what Matt ends up finding out is like, I can't do any of my things easily. But if you just stick with the things, it's not infinite. I feel like that's the big thing. You guys feel like you're gonna constantly be like tugging those handkerchiefs and you're never gonna get where you're going. It's not that you'll never get there, it's just that you'll have to work to. And you're like, but I don't wanna have to work for like multiple episodes to get something done. But sometimes you just have to.
Well, I don't even think that's necessarily the problem. I just feel like it's one of those things where, like, so if you're trying to go like a set distance, and then someone's like, okay, but then every time you take a step, you're getting to like a smaller increment, like there's something else in your way. So then every time you solve that thing, there's other things in your way before you can solve that thing. And then before you can solve those things, there's other things in your way that you can. So eventually you have like so much ahead of you, and every time you do it, it tacks on more. Every time you do something, it tacks on more. So it feels like that distance just grows and grows and grows.
And it may feel like it's continually growing, but if you don't keep knocking down walls, you're not gonna get anywhere. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, well, because that's taking so long, I'm just gonna start knocking down these other walls. Like that ends up being the issue.
But I think the reason is because it's like, well, I'm trying to knock down other walls that'll eventually lead me back there instead of just creating more walls than I can ever really go through.
But it's not like more walls than you'll ever really go through.
Because it's like you'll knock down one and like 8 more of a beer.
I mean, it's just a continually like growing world. And it's not that you have to address everything that's happening in the world. You can choose to just be like, that's not my problem. Calling it that with the like, the water is dirty. Like, the water supply is fucked. And he's like, no, I don't care. And I mean, you guys will do that on occasion. Matt will be like, oh, those people are fucked. I'm not trying to get fucked. I'll just leave. And he's done that before. And he's like, well, the city looks like it's gonna get fucked. I'm glad I'm not there. You know? And like, I feel like even you will on occasion will be like, better them than me. Kill yourself. You know, like, yeah. So everyone has like their greedy tendencies. But I guess it doesn't have to be that way. And it doesn't have to be like a bad thing. Jared is someone who like had played a lot of the original Jank heroes, and he like appreciates the grind more, I suppose. And like he gets big rewards from it. He learns like huge things about the world, and he gets like really deep into the game. And people are like, man, Jared must be like a fucking Mary Sue. But Jared will be like slaving at that shit for like a really long time to like get there. But it feels earned, like the things that he gets. You know what I mean? And you want that like drive and growth. And if the character doesn't have that drive, I don't feel like it should be rewarded. For them to just be like, why doesn't it just come to me? Because you have to earn it. And if it's hard, you just gotta deal with it. You can't just be like, because it's hard, I don't want to do it. Because you just won't get anywhere with that mindset.
But it's difficult to really grind like you're talking about when most of the time you're like, I just don't want to do that.
I did take like a hard hiatus for a little bit for Jank. But I feel like a show, like any show, can like become like a little draining with like it's like the same story in the same world. And I spent a lot of time being like, I want to do like other stuff and I want to build other stuff. And I still do want to do that. But I understand that like people do like Jank Heroes, and I am getting back into doing more Jank Heroes, and you can expect more Jank Heroes episodes in the future as it like continues to build. Real quick, before I get to Matt's most recent comment, Matt said we should not have wristwatch scores on multiple worlds at the same time within the time of me talking to Master Dragon. Master Dragon at this point doesn't really equate to much anymore, even though he was a major factor for me, because he just vanishes and doesn't really have involvement in these events. The lighting has decreased.
That's the point. That's the good news about it.
That's the good news about it.
Yeah, let me try and bring it up.
Okay, let's see. He says, wristwatches, the more time I spend without the obviously bad wristwatch, the more likely the police become involved, thus leading into its own problems. Time is not normally ours to utilize for research. Even in multi-parters, they generally have a climax in any episode that is satisfying, even if the plot continues into the next episode. I feel like it's hard to really argue that, mainly because even in literally whatever, when we like hit solid points, well, I'm still. Matt said I skipped a whole bunch. I must have like scrolled down too hard. Master Dragon, let's see, the point doesn't really equate to much anymore, even though he was a major factor for me, and no looking into it would only aid so much. We can't spend all that much time researching, because things go bad really fast if we spend too much time looking over things. It was either deal with the problem, or they wreak havoc. Master Dragon, I had to ultimately make a choice with not much real leeway. Okay, then we got to the wristwatches thing. Time is not normally on our side. Multi-parters. And I was reacting to the multi-parters thing. So, when it comes to the... Do the exoskeleton hands do anything cool? When it comes to the multi-parter thing, and, like, the satisfaction of, like, getting an end, Matt, you've had, like, multiple things that are like that. Like, your court case had, like, a solid finish. Like, that was an arc for you. Like, the whole bruiser thing. You had the, like, all the speedsters are, like, being killed off, and I have to find a way to not be a speedster anymore. Like, that was, like, a big arc for you. Winslow.
So is he not a speedster anymore?
No. He, like, fought someone, in order to, like, get out of the speedsters. He fought, like, the new leader of the speedsters, because they did, like, a vote or whatever. A lot of shit happened. It's a big deal. Like, a whole lot of stuff happened. Nerd Tanker's still in hell after all that. So... with that,
Nerd Tanker.
He's not a speedster, but he like went in to help Matt, kind of thing, and he's like still exploring down there. Yeah.
Is Ryan still in hell?
Yeah, Ryan actually hasn't played since his first time, where he casually walked in now and has stayed. So, when it comes to like satisfying like endings. Matt, you've had like multiple like multi-parters like end, and what some people would say like, oh, this is like a big part of the story. You've like collected like jewels successfully, and people would argue like the attainment of like a jewel. You had like the big Dinosaur Island arc, and you had like yeah.
So that was still for this one that I just got though.
Yeah, and you did get it. You got, like, the skull thing.
Yeah.
And you're now, like, in, like, post getting the skull, my new goal is to learn more about magic, so I'm able to track down more crystals.
Yeah.
Every big arc has a lot of sub-arcs, and those sub-arcs build into, like, a bigger and grander story.
Can you put them together? I know if you put all of them together, it fucks shit. But what if can you put like 2 of them together?
You mean just 2 episodes together?
No, 2 crystals.
2, you don't know yet. Let's see. Matt said, I'm more on a quest for power. I'm not aiming for exclusively easy paths. I'm trying to work from the most feasible angles to make other paths easier overall. Matt, I feel like you just rephrased easier path into something. Like you were like, I'm not looking for easier paths. I'm looking for the easier path that makes other paths easier. More feasible just sounds easier from the get-go. Like that just sounds like a synonymous statement. Matt said, how enjoyable is grinding in video games, Jet? Clearly, I seem to like enjoy the concept of grinding to an extent. For example, when we played the Tales game together, Matt, I decided I was gonna just grind and like beat up like smaller enemies for a bit, and you were like, Jet, stop! Like, what are you doing? In your game of Jank Heroes, I grinded on reading and knowledge. I wanted to learn more. And his game of literally whatever, I grind on like 411 and I try and learn more. So I definitely have a different view of that kind of thing. The first published version of Jank Heroes I ever made, like where it was like a book that you could buy, is Jank Heroes Exorcist. And I just made Jank Heroes more grindy. It's harder to do like everything. But I appreciate the idea of like you have to work for it. I feel like that's like a big thing about like stories and becoming such a like powerful character. You are because you had to like move that far to get there.
Put you down as fuck for Step Up too?
Yo, you already know. I've seen every Step Up movie. Not even a lie. Me and my dad watch them together. That's the series, my boy. That's not a movie.
Watch it on Red. Buy Red just for that series.
Matt said, but what if we stop midway in an event where there is a climax? Please don't. What are you doing? Stop. He got your boy.
2 musics.
No thank you on it too. Music. Oh. It does say free. I hope it doesn't matter and I don't get fucked up.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, and could you turn it down? You're gonna be right next to the speaker, where before it was like farther in the back. That was like by design.
Thank you, Chi.
Oh.
Wait, I'm just trying to find.
You're just fine. Well, during the deaths, I don't want it to just be like silent.
Why not?
So, Matt said, but what if we stop midway in an event where there's a climax? It's only really midway. Like, Matt's defining the Master Dragon thing as, like, this was going to be, like, a really big thing. Like, how'd you, like, fuck me over on that? And the thing is, Matt, is that you had, like, not necessarily the assumption, pretty much the assumption, the expectation that this was going to be, like, the big climax between you and Master Dragon. But clearly that wasn't the case. Like, that's what it was. By the way, I have like 5 more minutes, and I'm gonna go. Just because I have to make sure that I go to bed and I'm well rested for the movie. Because like I said, it starts at 10:45, but I have to be up earlier and be like picked up and ready. And I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
So Matt said, if we stop in the middle of a conversation without a big reveal, if a fight hasn't reached a decent checkpoint, those are not good climaxes. It's not that they're not good climaxes, it's that they're not climaxes. You can't label something that's not a climax as just a bad climax. It's just definitionally not one. You're still in an expanding, growing story that you have to choose to pursue. And if your character doesn't pursue it, then your character doesn't do it. So Matt said, start from Dead Elf Girl, skip some more stuff. He said, that was torture in Tales. You went to level 20 in the starting area. Grind. Kill it. He said, work doesn't equate to grind. He says, if I have to kill 100 slimes, but they are relatively easy to kill, is that actually a rewarding challenge? So why do we stop at those points then? The episodes have like a fixed length. It's like having like 22 pages to tell a story in a comic book. By the way, I think that's another big thing. That's like a big difference. Is I absorb a lot of comic books versus just like watching movies or watching TV shows. When you mentioned the like characters always get to a certain point in a story thing, it made me think about the magicians. The magicians do seem to, at the end of like every episode, you can see that they like took like a step forward. And I was vibing with what you said. But when you read stuff like The Flash or like just any comic book, they seem to constantly end with like, it's fucked up to be continued. Because comic books are a medium where it's like, you're going to keep following these characters, they're going to keep going on adventures, and the world that they're in is shared with all these other heroes. And a big thing that I also feel is lost upon a lot of people is that Jank Heroes is heavily comic book inspired. The idea is like the whole like superhero thing. The episode is an episode of like your show as a superhero, and things have to go wrong for there to be like conflict. Things have to go wrong for there to be obstacles, and it's not that things can never be right, but is that you have to like work for things to be right. And it's like, well, things happen fast. We constantly have like more and more things that are thrown our way. But I feel like that's also a big comic book thing. Like when you read a comic, it'll be like, so Gorilla Grodd fucked over all of Central City and he like stole the Flash's powers, oh fuck. And then by the end of the like Gorilla Grodd arc, it's like, oh, we beat Gorilla Grodd, and because there are a bunch of speedsters in the city, they just rebuilt the whole thing. What do you mean Flash Wars, literally the next book? Like that is just how comic books are. And because it is essentially a role-playing game that replicates the medium of like comic books in many ways. I actually, for a little bit, was trying to develop a game that was like more true to comic books by having it be 22 minutes instead of like an hour, and it would be like a minute a page, similar to like reading a comic book kind of thing. Simply because that's like what inspires a lot of what you guys see, and like a lot of like how the world builds. So Matt said, but then those aren't good endings to an episode. I feel like it leaves a lot more to be like desired, to like be explored. It builds a bigger world not only for you as the player, but for the viewers to explore and to think about, and for other players to encounter and interact with. And the consequences of your actions affect the world that everyone else has to like explore. It's really like a building together kind of thing. And the more impactful your actions are on the world, the more it'll like change and shift how the world is. Matt said rewards should be done more along the lines of, say, Dark Souls, which never feels like a grind, as each enemy and placement feels like its own challenge without feeling overly repetitive or grindy. Would you say that Jank Heroes feels overly repetitive? I definitely agree that it's like a grind. You have to work. But repetition, I'm not quite sure of.
Not in story arcs. The only way I would say is in gameplay.
Now, is it repetitive, like repetition? Is the gameplay repeating only in the idea that like the mechanics aren't changing?
Yeah.
That's fair. That's just true. It's just like you have like these set game mechanics, and this is how you play. Because Jank Heroes doesn't have a conventional leveling system, you're not like, and now you've unlocked like this new ability. It's more, oh, you've like learned this new thing about the world that you're exploiting, or like you have this new thing that you've gotten. Then Matt said, plane, check nearest thing. So he's using the same system and nothing has changed about the system, which is why the system would work the same way. I feel like the plane thing isn't that bad. If he didn't like that, he could have been like, fuck your plane. I don't want to do the plane. It's not like he doesn't have other ways to go. He never used his wormhole thing.
Because I thought I'd be able to do more in my time.
Let's see. So Matt said, check to see if you found an exit to the maze. Referring to like the labyrinth thing. The labyrinth thing is like its own system, and you're like exploring the labyrinth system. When you're in like a certain system that's built a certain way, and you're not leaving the system isn't just gonna change. Matt said constant checking without any assurance of moving closer. Well, that's because a check in its own right is a 50-50 thing. When I was in the mine prison, I never once was able to make the odds of escape better. No, you just had to like keep tracking. It was definitely a grind. But as you trek forward, you could make things better by the idea that you got more items. You unlock new things that you could use. Whoa, 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 whoa! Don't be a nigga. So remember the other one you hit was free beats, right? This is just generic lo-fi radio. So it could be copyrighted. It could play like a Nujabes song or like anything else. You want something that straight up says, like this says, no copyright music, copyright. They try to drill that shit in that title. They're like making sure that you're like safe. But anyways, I do have to like log off for now. I gotta get ready for the Avengers thing. I stayed for like almost half an hour more than I like originally planned. But thank you all for watching, and don't worry, we'll definitely be talking about this in the future, I can tell. But thank you all for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to like this video. Favorite, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified whenever we do these live streams. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jump Like One Only, here with logging out. Peace.